Welcome into the USCAA National Championships. You're going to be blessed to have two people on each broadcast of the finals here of the men's and women's Division I and Division II championships. I'm Brian Collins. I will be sitting here with Ricky, the man Ricky from New York.
Which means you probably can't pronounce my last name.
Cibrano.
Cibrano. Yeah.
There we go.
That's close. Good enough. Good enough.
Close enough is good enough. We'll take that.
It is.
So we've had a wonderful set of semifinal games leading up to today's action. The first one being the men's Division I bracket. Concordia College of Alabama against the Illinois Institute of Technology. You were on the call of the Concordia game.
Mm-hmm.
I did the Illinois Institute of Technology game. And comparing notes beforehand, it seems like we have an interesting matchup here because Illinois Institute of Technology in their semifinal game looked dead in the water. They were down by 18 points in the second half, almost halfway through the second half. And then out of nowhere, they started raining threes, took it to double overtime, and knocked off the 1 seed, Maine Fort Kent. Now, Concordia, on the other hand, sounds like a completely different story.
Yeah, Concordia is more of an extremely efficient half-court offense. They shoot about 56% as a team, which is, again, over the course of a full season.
Say that again.
56%. Again, it's tough to wrap your mind around that we're talking their 28th game of the season, and they shoot 56% from the field. That just does not seem possible.
It's not.
Especially for
it's
a team
illogical.
Then you wonder when you see that, how do they lose 7 games? How do you lose 7 games when you shoot 56%? That being said, they allow opponents to shoot 51%, so that might be why. So defensively, they were very, very good. Obviously, against Berea, they held them to just 54 points, but there could be another foot to drop here. We'll see if Illinois Tech is extremely efficient, if they can carve through this extremely aggressive Concordia D. And we didn't really see it against Berea, but they like to be aggressive defensively. If you can catch them with their hand in the cookie jar, so to speak, if you can catch them going for steals, there's probably easy buckets at the cup at the other end, and we'll see if Illinois Tech can do that. That'll be the big question.
Once again, this is the USCAA National Championship Men's Division I, proudly presented by Nemacolin Woodlands Resorts. And we are at Penn State Fayette University. Now, both of these schools, this is quite a trip for any fan or parent, even a parent, to come to Pennsylvania, where it's kind of in a little bit of a triangle between Ohio and West Virginia and Pennsylvania. Selma, Alabama, and Chicago, Illinois. That's not exactly a destination unless you're going to Nemacolin. Not exactly a destination unless you are a parent. However, Concordia does have the women's team, which will be playing for their championship tonight. So you will hear some serious fans from the Concordia side because their girls are not quiet, that's for sure. They're not quiet in their own game.
In game 1, they weren't quiet at all. They were giving it to a couple of the Berea players during the game, too. So that was kind of fun to watch. There was one situation at the end of the game where I think a player on Berea missed the free throw, what exactly it was, and he was giving it to them a little bit, and they were giving it back. And it was all in good fun, but they're going to be sitting, I think, almost directly across from us, across from the Concordia bench. So if you hear a lot of noise, a lot of shouting during the game, odds are it's coming from the Concordia women's team as they await their game later on.
The last guy leaving the floor is my guy for Illinois Institute of Technology to watch, Malik House. Malik House, the point guard, he had an amazing game in the semifinals by the fact that barely scored in the first half, was 3 fouls in, had to sit the rest of the first half. At the 3-minute mark of the second half, he picked up his 4th foul, sat until 10 minutes in, and then hit 4 huge threes down the stretch, including 2 in the last minute to send it to overtime, and did an amazing job of handling the basketball. For Concordia, though, it sounds like it's a across-the-board team effort.
Yeah, Concordia a little bit deeper. Illinois Tech right now, they really only go maybe 7 deep or so. That's really the way to look at it. Concordia, they'll go 8 or 9 deep. So the depth definitely goes to Concordia. And if Illinois Tech, and we'll ask you to pause and stay with us now as we get set for the national anthem.
Boy Scouts from Masontown, Pennsylvania, spreading out the flag. And we will have the national anthem.
Just about a minute or so away from the tip of this first final of the day into the USCAA Basketball National Championships, the D1 matchup between number 4 Illinois Tech, the Scarlet Hawks, and the Concordia College Alabama Hornets. The number 2 seed, the number 1 seed in this division, is out. So, Brian, let's take a look at the starters. First for the lower seed, the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks. Start in the backcourt with number 3, and you had alluded to him before, 6-foot sophomore guard Malik Howes, leading scorer on this team, at least active leading scorer. Anthony Mosley Jr. is their leading scorer, but he's been out for about a month with a knee injury.
They talked a lot about him and what he meant to the team, but they also talked about how impressed they've been with how the team has picked it up, losing their leading point per game player at 19 points per game. So, yeah, Mosley Jr., he was even their leading assist guy, but the coach said they have just been on a tear since he went out.
Yeah, they have won 12 straight, and most of those with Mosley Jr. out, so they've really picked up the slack. Jake Brunn starts in the backcourt alongside him, 5'11 sophomore guard out of Villa Park, Illinois. They go with a bigger lineup, do the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hornets. They start 3 forwards, which is a little bit odd for this level. But Parker Jonkus, he's the first of the 3, 6'6 sophomore forward out of Damascus, Oregon, has a nice touch from outside, 34% shooter from deep. Samuel Rarick, he's the power forward, 6'6 senior out of Chicago, Illinois, averages 16.6 points per game on over 55% shooting, had a double-double versus University of Maine, Fort Kent. And in the middle, it's Max Hisatake, 6'7 freshman center out of Las Vegas. He's third in the USCAA with 2.4 blocks per game. So now we see Concordia in the green. Their introductions going on right now. Or actually, they're going to wear the gray unis, but they have the green warm-ups on over the top. Illinois Tech in the bright red. In the backcourt, they go with number 1, Christian Bryant, the little guy, 5'5 freshman point guard out of Baltimore, second in USCAA with 7.5 assists per game. He's joined by D'Angelo Anthony, 6-footer sophomore out of Atlanta, first-team USCAA All-American and their leading scorer. Taven Cumming, he's the third guard in that lineup, 6'5 junior, second-team All-American, averaging 16 points per game. And in the front court, it is DeQuarius Johnson, a bouncy guy. He can really get up, 6'7 freshman power forward out of Edgefield, South Carolina. Went for 8 and 16 boards versus Berea. And in the middle is the big man, Dennis Miles, 6'8 sophomore center. He was a monster versus Berea, went for 28 and 9.
For the most part, both these teams are pretty young. A lot of freshmen and sophomores on these rosters. So these two teams are built to last. Obviously, they both have some senior leadership that have carried them here, such as Rarick, who played so well in that semifinal game in the late second half and in double overtime. but both of them starting a lot of freshmen and sophomores.
So it'll be Johnson and Hisatake on the tip. Hisatake wins it back, but stealing it is Anthony, and here he comes, spinning into the lane, kicks back out and threw it right to Howes. Turnover right off the bat, and Howes
left himself nowhere to go. He got too far under that basket.
A lot of energy, maybe a little nerves early on from D'Angelo Anthony. Now Hisatake will slow it down. It's Rarick on the perimeter. Rolls the ball over his head, hands off for Howes. He works right, the much bigger Johnson on him. 8 on the clock. Gave up his dribble. Now Rarick posting up Anthony at 3. Howes too short. And coming away with the board is Johnson. And Concordia in the gray.
Great box out by Johnson on Rarick. Had himself in great position to get the board.
Here's Cumming. He has Jonkus out on him. That could be an athletic mismatch. Anthony nearly fumbled that pass. Now he corrals, and it's Cumming. 8 on the clock. Johnson, a lot of dribble handoffs. We'll see this a lot from Concordia. 4 on the clock. It's Anthony on the run. Behind the back dribble into the lane. Forces it up off to the left. Rebound for Hisatake.
Really soft man-to-man, almost daring them to shoot here early.
This team, Concordia, led by Frederick Summers, will see them run a lot of high dribble handoffs. Rarick muscling his way inside, no good. Hisatake keeps it alive, and Jonkus comes away with it. Back for Jonkus. Plays catch, now a 3, drills it.
That's Jonkus' game. You're going to see him a lot on the baseline, and he has a nice touch from 3 when he has an open look.
That was 2 give and goes between Rarick and Hisatake, where Rarick and Jonkus, beg your pardon. And Jonkus finally drilled it for the first bucket of the game, not quite 2 minutes into the game. They go into Dennis Miles. That'll be a matchup to watch. Him and Hisatake fades away baseline, in and out. Rebound for Rarick. He can hit that shot. Contended Johnson. Hisatake up ahead of the pack, and he was shoved out of bounds by Dennis Miles.
Good look by Howes getting it up to the releasing Hisatake. And Rarick is playing off of his man defensively, and as soon as that shot goes, he is crashing right to the boards.
And here is Rarick, up and under move, came up short. Johnson tips the rebound out. Here comes Concordia and Anthony on the run, a lob. He can't finish at first, but Cumming regathers and finishes on the reverse.
Good stick-to-itiveness by Cumming right there. As you said, the lob was a little off, but was able to do a nice little up and under.
2.5 minutes in, 1-point game. Illinois Tech on top, and that's a charge on Rarick. Good job by Johnson to set his feet.
That's actually a beautiful defensive play for the 6'7" freshman from Edgefield, South Carolina. He did a wonderful job of getting himself set. Rarick has some weight on Johnson, but Johnson did a great job defensively.
Unlike Berea, Illinois Tech is not giving up much size to Concordia. We'll see if they give up athleticism, though. Dennis Miles will try a 3. Too strong. That's not really a shot. Rebound for Howes in Illinois Tech.
Once again, laying off defensively, wanting them to shoot from the outside here early.
Concordia not an extremely adept three-point shooting team. Free throw pull-up. Beautiful shot by Rarick. 5-2 Illinois Tech, 3 minutes in.
That was a beautiful little fade in the paint from about 13 feet. Pulled Johnson out.
Rarick is not really a three-point bomber, but he's the king of the mid-range. Here's a 3 from Bryant, too short. Hisatake soars for the board.
Good start for Illinois Tech here early. Illinois Institute of Technology out of Chicago. Doing a good job defensively.
Rarick faces up on Johnson and cans it in his face. Rarick with 4 points already. And showing a touch from 16 feet.
They're looking to go to him as their main man. He is the senior. He is the leader.
Here's a fadeaway jumper on the baseline. No good from Bryant. Johnson tips it underneath, but can't get it to go, and Hisatake comes away with it.
Hisatake looks like he has springs for legs. He can really get up.
And that'll be an interesting one to watch. Him against Johnson and Miles inside. Rarick fades away. He was fouled this time by Johnson. Johnson had been playing off of Rarick, then thought better of it after he hit 2 jumpers. And this time he fouls him.
Yeah, that would be a situation where he tried to stay in good defensive position, but then at the last moment thought he had enough reach to get just a hand on the ball. Unfortunately, He smacked Rarick on the hand, and that'll send Rarick to the line for 2.
Johnson 3 blocks against Berea in a semifinal matchup, so he's got blocks on his mind, no doubt, as Rarick hands the first. He's about 81% from the line. That's excellent. 8-2 Illinois Tech early on, 16:05 to go in the opening half. Division I men's final. Rarick hits the pair, 9-2. Illinois Tech, the underdog, the number 4 seed, out to an early lead. Anthony holds. Now it's Johnson.
Look how far Rarick is off.
Now Johnson will take the shot, and he puts it in. Look at that. Nice call, Brian.
That's exactly what they need. If they're going to play off and dare you to shoot, you better take that shot and put it in.
Johnson, 33% from deep. Doesn't shoot it often, but does a reasonably decent job when he does. Rarick from mid-range, too short. Hisatake keeps it alive, and it's a fresh 30. Forces it in for a cutting Rarick, and it is off of Cumming last. It will stay with Illinois Tech.
Yeah, great hustle by Cumming to keep that away from Rarick, as it looked like it was going to be an easy deuce.
Housel inbound, 9-5 Illinois Tech. 15:31 to go, stolen right off the inbound. Johnson coming away with it. Here's Anthony looking to run in transition, a 3, way off, air ball. Anthony looking a bit nervy early on. His shot hasn't fallen yet. He nearly turned it over on the first possession of the game, too.
I love the little guys, though. 5'5", freshman. You got to have a lot of moxie to you. You'd be starting point guard for a team in a national championship as a freshman.
Yeah, they do have some smaller guys, this team. Here's Hisatake. For Jonkus on the wing, 10 on the shot clock. Bruns, his first touch of the game, 8 on the clock, into the paint. And that's going to be an illegal screen going the other way. It'll be on Hisatake.
Hisatake, of course, pleading his case, saying he was set. But once again, that little slide on the hip, the refs will get you every time for that one.
So with that, Concordia will take over. It's Prince Atkins running the point. Anthony holds. Finds Miles down low. Trying to back down Hisatake. Gives up his dribble. Forces it up off the side of the backboard. Miles put himself in a dangerous position there as Hisatake comes away with the board. Under 15 to play in the opening half. Illinois Tech out to the early 4-point lead. It's Malik Howes. Drives baseline and a foul on the drive.
That's where his speed comes into play. The kid can really take off and hit a high level real fast.
So as we're under 15 to play, be headed to a timeout here. 14:31 to go. Our first media timeout with Illinois Tech on top 9-5. Just over 5 minutes into the ballgame.
We're in the men's Division I final of the USCAA National Championships, presented by Nemacolin Woodlands Resort. They are the proud presenting sponsor of the 2017 USCAA National Basketball Championships. Nemacolin is a family and luxury vacation destination on 2,000 wooded acres in the Laurel Highlands of southwestern Pennsylvania. From the luxurious Forbes 5-star AAA 5-diamond Falling Rock Boutique Hotel to the comfort of your RV, Nemacolin's 6 lodging options cater to everyone's personal choice with a variety of amenities. It's another season at Nemacolin's Woodlands Resort. What reason will bring you back?
Ricky Cibrano and Brian Collins here with you for the men's Division I final of the 2017 USCAA Basketball National Championship between Concordia and Illinois Tech. It's Illinois Tech on top early on, 9-5. 14:31 to go in the opening half. Illinois Tech in the red, Concordia in the gray, kind of like a charcoal gray. Tough to quantify that color. Jonkus the inbound, Illinois Tech ball that's swatted out of bounds.
I'd say you did good with gray.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I'm trying to find some sort of, is it mixed with like a little bit of green? It's like, no, it's just gray. Just say gray. I don't know why I couldn't do that. I'm overthinking it. I mean, they can see it. It's not like it's radio.
Illinois Tech off to a good start here early. Let's see if they can continue with their nice offensive flow, and then defensively, they're staying off, daring them to shoot. Will Concordia start stepping out and hitting some shots?
Here's Rarick posting up on a smaller Cumming. Comes up short on the fadeaway. from the elbow. Rebound for Miles and Concordia. It's Prince Atkins getting early run early on instead of Christian Bryant, the normal starter. Johnson, tough shot in traffic, too strong off the window. And here comes Illinois Tech and Howes.
DeGiorgio with the rebound as he checks in for the first time.
Averages double-digit rebounds off the bench as Rarick finishes again. That's his third bucket. Make it his fourth. He now has 8 to lead all scorers.
Yeah, Rarick, you can tell that that is the focus today thus far. If it's your last game, you want to go out on top if you are the leader of the team, especially after losing Mosley Jr. a month ago.
Anthony burst inside, rejected by DeGiorgio. Here comes Howes trotting across the timeline, turns the corner in traffic, and gets it to go.
Looking for an and one and looking for a timeout is Concordia. Head coach Frederick Summers obviously not liking what he's seeing as Howes was able to take it off of that block shot all the way to the rim. And it was contested, but Howes, he was able to maneuver and put up an off-balance shot, like I said, looking for the and one. Well, didn't get the call, however, that's not the point. He made the basket. Once again, DeGiorgio off the bench making contributions. And this young man, he's 6'6", sophomore from Ironwood, Michigan, has some serious defensive presence inside. When you look at him, you see a bigger fella, but you don't expect to see what you see from him because he's not exactly a big fella. He's taller, 6'6".
6'6", but
he's
not
not
huge.
Yeah, he's not going to wow you in the weight room. But he does a great job of getting position and really smart defender.
One of those tough kids from Michigan. That's what DeGiorgio is. 13-5 early on, 13-10 to go. Miles answers, free throw line, pull-up.
Dennis Miles, a nice shot there. Just a simple look for the 6'8" sophomore.
And here comes the Concordia press, but they break it easily with Bruns. There's Illinois Tech. Concordia, they started off a bit slow against Berea as well and then really turned it on and made it into a blowout. That's a bad pass there. Stolen going the other way. Prince Atkins ahead of the pack. Leaves it going for the tomahawk jam, but a foul coming.
I've always loved
to go with the left.
it was a nice attempt at a flush. Rarick got up there and was able to keep it from being flushed down with the left hand. However, that's where you see that what you were just talking about. That athleticism, getting out in that open floor. He passed up the open layup to get it back for the opportunity for the dunk, but Rarick did a good job of hustling back.
And that's a time where the much smaller Atkins probably felt the taller Rarick on his back and figured, you know what, if I go up with it, he's probably going to swat it away, so I'll leave it for Cumming instead. Cumming likes to go with the left. He almost had a highlight reel jam against Berea coming from the baseline.
That one would have qualified.
Yeah, this one would have too, yeah. He hasn't converted any of them yet, but he likes to go for it. 13-9 as he hits a pair. 12:42 to go in the opening half.
Little man-to-man press. They're going to try to trap around half court. There it is.
Tipped up in the air. And it's going the other way. Howes with his arms out.
Todd Kelly, the head coach, disappointed that the 10-second was called, even though it was tipped. However, the ball had not crossed half court.
Yeah, usually on a tip you don't
with
see it.
The hands being touched by Illinois Institute of Technology, hence the 10 seconds.
Rondo Miles in the game now, so 2 Miles is in the game for Concordia. Anthony gives up his dribble. Johnson will try a triple. Off to the left, he hit one earlier. Hisatake with the board for Illinois Tech. Miles checking Howes as Prince Atkins sits. 18-footer, well too short from Howes, comes right back to him. He'll try again, and he puts it in.
Stuck with it, got the long rebound. Elbow jumper from the free throw line. That should be money for Howes all day.
15-9, under 12 to play in the opening half. Illinois Tech on top. Cummings on the baseline. Kicks back out for Rondo Miles. Has some space. Works right around the Dennis Miles screen. Now they'll set up Anthony. Has a screen set up to his left from Dennis Miles. Works left around it. Picks up his dribble, top of the key. Now Miles, right wing, 4 on the clock. Got to get moving. Jacks a deep 2 off to the right. Rebound for Jonkus in Illinois Tech.
Once again, a real soft man defense playing help side, almost like a 2-3 zone. But still with the man principles.
Now, is that a man-to-man or is it a matchup zone, as they call it?
No, they're still playing in their man-to-man because they have their guy with them. It's just they're sticking with the principles of
coming on the run, no good. Johnson the follow, he's fouled.
To finish with that, they're sticking with their principle of if the ball's on the right side of the floor, they're going to drop down into the box or into the paint because even on a cross-court pass, they still have time to get back and match up with their man.
So Johnson to the line, 4-2. Fourth foul on Illinois Tech. Hisatake has 2 fouls. That's the only guy who's in foul trouble right now.
He fouled out in the semifinals. Was in foul trouble almost the whole second half. Fouled out in overtime. Young man, very active around the boards and very active around shots in the paint.
Quentin Forberg, number 12 in red, in the game for the first time now as Bruns will sit. Second free throw good from Johnson, so it's 15-10. Johnson will sit for Concordia. Both teams going to their bench now. And we'll see that full court press again. Switching to the diamond press, however, they're able to lead it right up the floor easily. Ryan Watkins, 3 in gray. He's in the game for Concordia, and he's guarding Malik Howes. Concordia a bit deeper, but we'll only see 8, maybe 9 guys. Howes looking to split the 2 defenders, finds a wide open DiGiorgio, who lays it in left of the hoop. Pretty look by Howes. Looks like Miles lost his man DiGiorgio underneath, and DiGiorgio just put himself in a good passing lane position. 10:30 to go in the opening half, 7-point game. Illinois Tech, the underdog, the number 4 seed, on top. Miles has it back, 10 on the clock. They post up Dennis Miles. Left block, nearly threw it away, saving his Atkins. Back to Rondo Miles, crosses over, kicks into the corner. Watkins a 3, air ball, way too strong. Shot clock did not reset, so that's a violation, even though Cumming corralled the board. Illinois Institute of Technology sticking with them defensively, making Concordia shoot from outside, not wanting them to have that inside presence, and thus far it has really slowed down Concordia offensively. Here comes Howes, has to be mindful of that 10-second violation. Forberg, 18 on the shot clock, now past the midway point of the opening half of this men's D1 final. Double screen, set up for Howes, he goes left. Being hounded by Dennis Miles, who hedged it aggressively. Howes will call his own number. Too short, rebound for Dennis Miles at Concordia. Rondo Miles running the point. Work it down low for Cumming. Fades away, too strong, well defended by DiGiorgio. Rebound. Nobody from Concordia in for the rebound. Not one person. The only one coming in was Bryant, the 5'5" guard. Concordia a little bit out of rhythm offensively right now. They haven't gotten a lot of steals yet, which really hurts them. They like to get out in transition. Here's Forberg. His man fell down, fires from the elbow. Too short, tip by DiGiorgio, up and in with the right hand. Great position by DiGiorgio, fighting off the 6'8" Miles to get in with a nice little right hand tap in, and it's up to a 9-point advantage. Largest lead of the ball game, 8:50 to go in the opening half. Miles is bigger than everybody on the court, but Illinois Tech, they routinely play 3 big men, so they have the size advantage overall, and it's paying dividends. Here's Dennis Miles, just standing still, 5 on the clock, fires a 3, too strong. Rebound for Forberg, not much going on again. That possession for Concordia. I can't tell if Forberg... Howes comes up short, but he was fouled. I can't tell if Forberg came up with a wacky case of bedhead or decided to do some little styling for the national championship game. He's really got those locks flying everywhere. Yeah, I think that's by design right there. I think in the overtime game, which I didn't really plan on watching a lot of, but I went to double overtime, so I did watch a lot of it. Had the same type of look going. Want to look good? Yeah, why not? I mean, you know, if your games are going to be on TV, you got to look good for the girls back at the college and the folks. You know, be presentable, right? Hey, I don't disagree, that's for sure. The USCAA National Championships brought to you in part by Fine Designs. Fine Designs is the official merchandiser of the National Championships. They provide an outstanding selection of apparel that is fully customizable.
Don't miss out on the memory of the 2017 Basketball National Championships. To purchase your official USCAA Basketball Championship merchandise from Fine Designs, just head right outside in the main arena, right in the lobby, and you will find them set up and ready to go. And actually, I saw a number of items being purchased by the players, and they do some wonderful work. So if you're here for one of your kids, relative, whatever it is, they do a fine job out there. And no pun intended being Fine Designs, but it really does look like
that's
some
probably what they were going for.
Yeah,
If I had to guess, but who knows?
8:25
to go in the opening half. Ricky Cibrano and Brian Collins courtside on the campus of Penn State Fayette. 19-10, Illinois Tech on top of Concordia in the first of 4 finals today. This is the men's D1 final. Malik Howes at the line for 2 with the chance to make this a double-digit game. Howes 75% from the line. And he does just that. Illinois Tech is now doubled up. Concordia 20-10, 8:25 to go in the opening half. Howes right now 5 points. Rarick leads all scorers with 8. Make it 6 for Howes, 11-point game.
Neither one of them touched the rim. Beautiful stroke from Howes at the line there this afternoon, excuse me.
Just barely into the afternoon, but the afternoon. Here's Cumming crossing over on to Giorgio. DeGiorgio took it away.
Forberg got his hand in when he had the ball on the floor.
Here's Howes. He'll back out as Rondo Miles bumps him. Forberg will back it out to the logo. Work it for DeGiorgio. Left wing, 18 feet away. Howes underneath, nearly fell down and threw it away as he fell. Looked like he might have stepped on Anthony's foot or
yeah, that's exactly what happened there. He stepped on the foot. He had great position to take him onto the post, but he stepped on the foot and tried to just save himself by throwing to Rarick, but Rarick does not have that kind of reach.
That is not Shaquille O'Neal over there. 18 on the shot clock. It's Watkins. Ball fake on Jonkis. Fades away from 18. Pretty touch.
That was a nice shot over Jonkis, and that's not an easy task at 6'6". Jonkis has some long arms as well. That was a beautiful fade.
Rarick breaks the press with the crossover. Lost the ball, but Howes saved it. 7:15 to go in the opening half. 9-point game. Rarick working in the post on Cumming. Beautiful spin. Lays it home.
Too easy for Rarick against Cumming. Cumming did not see that one coming at all. But then again, he was not set defensively. He was more just standing straight up expecting a turnaround fade.
Have to wonder at some point. Concordia goes to Dennis Miles. Here's Cumming inside. Lays it home with the left. Pretty pick and roll there with Anthony.
Cumming getting a pair back right there after the defensive mishap.
23-14, under 7 to play. You have to wonder if Concordia will go to Dennis Miles on Rarick, a little bit bigger, because Rarick has really had his way down low. Here's Forberg. They'll post up to Giorgio. He's working on Holt, who's just checked in. Rarick bowled over his man. That time it's Cumming, getting the best of Rarick.
And that's a case there where too often players now, they see too much of that NBA game where they lead with the forearm. And Rarick did the same exact thing right there with leading with the forearm, trying to spin back inside. And Cumming was in great position, took the hit. I don't know if he acted, but he did slide about 5-6 feet. But still, he was in the right position, took the hit, went to the floor, and got the right call.
And Frederick Summers wants another timeout, and this is potentially a big turning point because that is Rarick's 3rd foul. He has to sit now.
Yeah, that could be a difficult proposition for head coach Todd Kelly and having Rarick on the bench. However, this might be a time where you see them go a little bit smaller, more ball possession, work it around, and trying to set some screens since Concordia is staying in that man principle defense and see if they can get some easy baskets that way. Want to let you know that the USCAA National Championships is brought to you in part by the historic Stonehouse Inn. For parents and fans visiting the 2017 USCAA Basketball National Championships, the Stonehouse Inn is located in Farmington, Pennsylvania, and offers a unique experience for its visitors and patrons. And speaking of we're going to have a chat with Todd. Victorian bed and breakfast lodging.
Ooh.
And first-class dining from Chef Jeremy Critchfield. I want to stay in a Victorian bed and breakfast next time.
I wouldn't complain about that.
No, first-class dining? We're going to have a chat next time with Todd.
But the Nemacolin Resort was offered to us.
I know.
And thankfully, I turned it down because we would have gotten stuck here because of the snow if we had to go up that mountain.
Yeah, no thanks.
6:20 to go in the opening half, 23-14, Illinois Tech on top of Concordia.
I guess we made our bed. We better lie in it.
It just wasn't worth the risk. Rejected by Hisatake, who's just checked back in. Dwight Waddell, that's his first touch of the game, and went for the two-hand flush, and Hisatake said no.
Once again, that young man can really get up, and he is, what you said, 2.5 blocks a game.
Mm-hmm. Showing why. Here's Anthony diving in baseline, and he was fouled. Tried to adjust midair. Shot wouldn't fall, but he'll go to the line for two. D'Angelo Anthony still sitting on a donut hole right now. Aguse doesn't have any points. Value average is just over 20 per game.
They're going to call that foul on DeGiorgio. That'll be his first.
Well, that's good news because Hisatake is on 2 fouls too.
Yeah, that's who I thought it was going to be called on, and that was going to be my next point. But DeGiorgio getting the call. That's a little bit of a fortuitous foul call for the Scarlet Hawks.
Yes, the Scarlet Hawks, really, they only go 7 deep with Mosley Jr. out. So especially with the big men, if somebody goes down in foul trouble, and Rarick already has 3, they are really up against it. Second from Anthony, rattles out. Ball just won't fall for him. Keeping it alive momentarily was Watkins, but he stepped out of bounds.
Once again, the diamond press, which thus far they really haven't had an opportunity to trap because Illinois Tech, for the most part, has stayed away from that pressure of that trap and has done a good job of making them work side to side.
And they break it again pretty easily. Jonkus and Bruns doing the honors. Now House's trap finds Hisatake to the hoop. Takes a big bump, and he'll go to the line for 2.
Yeah, they dropped from the diamond into the half-court trap and really put on the pressure in the half-court trap, and that's exactly what Todd Kelly is bringing them over to talk about, that being Bruns and House, to talk about how to handle that. And Hisatake at the line.
Rattles on the first.
Nice soft touch there. Hisatake was the recipient of that trap, being left alone, and he would have had an easy two-hand finish if he wouldn't have been bumped.
Second too strong, gets his own miss, and that's a charge. That's a big call. That's 3 on Hisatake. Waddell stepped in front. Let's see what Todd Kelly elects to do. And it looks like they're going to the bench. 24-14 game. 5:40 to go in the opening half. They didn't get the substitution in time, though. So they will be forced to go to their bench a little deeper than they're used to, and an offensive foul that's going to be an illegal screen.
Yeah, he drilled House on that screen. And checking in for the Illinois Institute of Technology is Cole Linder, the 6'6 freshman from British Columbia, Canada. Now, he did not play at all.
He hasn't in this tournament.
Correct. So, as we were talking about, what's going to happen now that their 2 starting bigs are off of the floor?
Let's see if they can continue to rebound so well. DeGiorgio is still in, but now he's kind of alone inside as Atkins comes away with that steal. Took it away from Howes. Here's Atkins on the run. Crosses over on Bruns to the hoop, and he was fouled by Linder. So Linder getting himself on the stat sheet at least.
Once again, right there, right away, they attack that inside. You know, great decision by Concordia. Hey, we got their 2 big guys in foul trouble. Let's take it right to the basket and see how they respond. Now, DeGiorgio is one that does well in the paint. Linder, yet to be seen. Obviously on that one, picks up the foul.
Atkins, the southpaw, hits the first, back to a 9-point game. Linder, just by the eye test, and we don't have weight listings. We know he's 6'6", but they don't have any of the weights listed. He looks a lot more slender, which is not a shock really for a freshman, than Hisatake and Rarick and the bigger guys. Second is good as well from Atkins, 24-16 now, 5:12 to go. In the opening half, we have not seen Christian Bryant in this game for Concordia. Didn't play much against Berea either. It could be an injury there, not quite sure. Come up on 5 to play now. In the opening half, Howes will slow it down. Has a screen set up to his off from DeGiorgio. Doesn't use it, and he pushed off. That was a big flop by Anthony, who then did a little jig when he was on the ground, but he gets the call.
A tad unnecessary. I can understand the excitement of drawing the charge, but goodness gracious. I mean.
Well, he doesn't have a point yet, so he's trying to get himself fired up, I guess. D'Angelo Anthony.
Yeah, he definitely went flying. Howes really did not give him much of a shove. He didn't give him the body. So I'm not really sure, what the officials saw there to decide to give that foul. But then again, it doesn't take much once you get that arm extended. As soon as you extend that arm, that makes it quite difficult to keep it from being called an offensive foul if the player goes to the floor.
So we're in immediate timeout here, 4:54 to go in the opening half. 24-16. Illinois Tech on top of Concordia in a slow-paced, grinding first half so far. A lot of whistles, which has kind of been a theme all weekend, that the referees have been very, very willing to blow the whistles. 9 fouls on Illinois Tech, 6 so far on Concordia, so both teams will be shooting the rest of the opening half. Couple guys on Illinois Tech already in foul trouble. Rarick with 3, and Hisatake on the bench with 3 as well.
I'm not wanting to say much about officials because after coaching,
it's not an easy job. Not an easy job at all.
It's very difficult, and it's the last thing you want to do. But there are a few officials in this tournament that are very whistle friendly. One of them is in this game. That's all I'll say.
Inside, Anthony can't finish. Too strong. Waddell the putback off glass.
You're seeing the difference without Hisatake and Rarick inside.
Can't control the boards like they did earlier on. Bruns will break the press far side. 4:30 to go in the opening half. Bruns is trapped, looking for help. Gets it to Jonkus. 15 on the shot clock, and Howes will slow it down. Getting instructions from head coach Todd Kelly. Has a screen to his right from DeGiorgio. Hedged aggressively, and a foul on Johnson.
This is where that athleticism comes into play for Concordia. Without the physicality, which was so dominant in the first 15 minutes of this first half, that being on the bench now for Illinois Institute of Technology, they're able to press them a little bit more. Even though the Scarlet Hawks do well of handling the basketball, they are struggling because Concordia really can get after it defensively if they want to.
So Howes at the line for a 1-and-1. Hits the front end. 25-18, 4:17 to go in the opening half. Howes has 7. Rarick on the bench still has a game-high 8. Nobody in double figures yet. Howes is second, too strong, coming. He's just checked back in for Johnson. Comes away with the board. Concordia in the gray, Illinois Tech in the red. Illinois Tech leading by 7 as we come up on 4 to go in the opening half. It's Prince Atkins running the show. Anthony a 3, got it. Anthony finally gets himself going. That's his first points of the ball game.
And they've been daring them to shoot outside the whole time, and that time it bit them, and we are down to a 4-point game. What a difference since the foul trouble started for the Scarlet Hawks.
Here's Howes around the screen, pick and roll with DeGiorgio. He was fouled, and he'll go to the line for 2. So Illinois Tech camping out at that line right now. It's been a little while since they've seen a shot go in, but keeping themselves up ahead with free throws.
One thing we haven't seen thus far from Illinois Institute of Technology is going with the 3-guard set, which they did a lot in that second half of the semifinal with Bruns, Howes, and Forberg. And I'm curious to see if they'll try that in the second half against Concordia with that pressure.
Now, some of it might have been out of desperation as DeGiorgio hits a pair because they were down by 18. They jacked 39 threes in that game, which is ridiculous, and that's not really their game typically. Into the corner, open look, Atkins. Too short, rebound for DeGiorgio.
Once again, only one offensive player underneath for an attempt at a rebound.
Howes behind the back dribble in the lane, swatted by Waddell. Bruns keeps it alive, spinning on Anthony. Backs it out with 12 on the clock as a screen set up to his right, doesn't use it. Prowls into the paint, toss it up with the left. Coming down with the board is Watkins, but that's a travel.
Came down a little awkwardly. I couldn't tell if he rolled his ankle or...
he's a little bit hobbled.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he went straight down to the floor. He seems to be okay, but he felt some pain instantaneously and went down with it.
2:54 to go in the opening half. 6-point game. Illinois Tech on top. Here's Jonkus, who's been quiet. Bruns a floater with the left, in and out. DeGiorgio finishes.
That's his game. He is tough on that glass, and he's got a nice soft touch around the basket.
Back to 8. 2:38 to go in the opening half. Anthony will slow it down. Illinois Tech still in that very loose man-to-man defense that we were talking about earlier. Here's Atkins spinning on Bruns to the hoop, gets it to go from right in front of the cup.
Just too much size between Atkins and Bruns. He was able to work him down in that paint.
Nice catch by Bruns to save that errant pass from Jonkus in the backcourt. 2:08 to go in the opening half, 6-point game. Howes will slow it down, has a screen set up to his left from DeGiorgio. DeGiorgio rolls to the hoop, and it's tipped and stolen by Cumming. Here comes Cumming up ahead for Anthony, and he'll lay it home with the right hands.
Beautiful, beautiful job after the screen of doubling up on Howes, and Howes was stuck and trying to throw out of it and could not.
4-point game, under 2 to play in the opening half. Concordia making a bit of a run here, similar to what they did against Berea. DeGiorgio from mid-range, and he splashes it home. Didn't know that was in his arsenal.
Steps back with his left foot. That's a 3. Unfortunately, he kept his foot on the line, but then again, technique is much more important than that extra point because you're not going to make it if you try to force a 3.
He actually has made a 3 this year, but he doesn't take them very often. 6-point game. So we come up on a minute to play. Waddell rattles it home.
Shots starting to fall for Concordia. They are starting to hit their open looks.
They're feeling a lot better than they did early on. 4-point game. Bruns trapped. Cross court for Jonkus, and he'll jog it across the timeline. 18 on the shot clock, under a minute to play now in the opening half. Todd Kelly telling his team to settle down here. They just want to survive this last minute with the lead, with 2 of their best players on the bench. Here's Howes dancing outside, 6 on the clock. It's a rolling to Giorgio, and he lays it home yet again.
Once again, the pick and roll worked to perfection. DeGiorgio rolling off that screen perfectly to the basket, and Howes, once again, a nice pass.
DeGiorgio, a game-high 12, not the guy you expected to be leading the game in scoring at the end of the half. 24 on the clock. Cummings, no good from 12, and the baseline tipped out of bounds. It's off of Illinois Tech.
Yeah, it was off of Linder, but, you know, to be honest, it's a good thing that that's only the second time we've said his name, because that doesn't mean that means he's not getting beat inside. That means he's doing his job defensively. He isn't providing anything offensively, which is fine. He doesn't have to. He just needs to be a presence inside.
Don't think he's touched the ball yet offensively. 20 on the clock, shot clock turned off. They can run it down if they want, but they don't. Inside, it's Holt, lost it. Linder was in there. Howes fell down. It's still loose. What's the call? Jump ball. Possession hour will go to Illinois Tech.
And Linder actually was the one that saved that. He went down and got that loose ball. So Linder did his job. He's going to have Rarichek in here. Offense with 11 seconds left, assuming he's not going to draw a charge. But good job by Linder off the bench when they really needed it. 6-point
game, 8 to play out of running clock. Here's Howes, final possession of the opening half. Into the corner, Jonkus steps back a 3, too short. 1 on the clock, and that is how the opening half will end, with Illinois Tech on top, 33-27. They've led by double digits at points, but Concordia put together a late run to get themselves back into it. But I suppose the story probably is right now that Illinois Tech, with Hisatake and Rarick in foul trouble for much of the last 5-6 minutes, they survive still with the lead.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing at the start of the second half. Do they attack Rarick and Hisatake inside? Does Concordia make a concerted effort to keep them in foul trouble? Because obviously a huge difference with them on the floor as opposed to not being on the floor.
So we will take a break, and we'll be back with the start of the second half in just about 12 minutes. Ricky Cibrano and Brian Collins back here for the start of the second half on USCAA.com in this men's Division I final in the USCAA 2017 Basketball National Championship. And it is Illinois Tech, the underdogs, the number 4 seed on top of Concordia, Alabama, the number 2 seed, 33-27, as we get set to start the second half. And it was a game, Brian, that at first it looked like Illinois Tech might actually run away with it, but Concordia made a bit of a late run, and now it's in single digits, and it looks like it'll be tight down the stretch.
3 things stick out from the Illinois Tech box score. Rarick, 10 minutes. Hizataki, 11 minutes. And Howes, 6 turnovers. Those 2 big guys went out. Howes started facing a lot of pressure and started turning the basketball over.
Concordia in the gray, Illinois Tech in the red. Concordia the first possession of the second half. It's coming, holding the ball over his head. Johnson, Dennis Miles down low, Anthony, and Prince Atkins in the corner as Johnson can't finish as he dove into the hoop.
Once again, spreading them out on defense, laying back, daring them to shoot with those big fellas down low.
There's another turnover for Howes, number 7. Prince Atkins on the run, goes coast to coast and lays it home. Howes did not want to pick up the foul, just let him go to the hoop. First bucket of the second half belongs to Concordia, 4-point game. Closest they've been in quite some time. Here's Rarick. Let's see if he's still hot. He had 8. Or make it 10 before he had to check out because of foul trouble. Muscles in on Johnson. Tough shot, air ball. Rebound for Dennis Miles.
Yeah, a little off balance in his move. Didn't get himself set. He could have done a jump stop and had a better look.
Atkins will slow it down. Just over a minute into the second half. Johnson on the wing. Rarick giving him plenty of cushion, but he has made 1 3 in this game. Anthony back for Johnson. 8 on the clock. Johnson into the lane with the right-hand dribble. Fights inside. Too strong off glass. Rebound for Howes and Illinois Tech.
It was a good drive, but not able to finish off with the deuce.
Howes works right around a Rarick screen. Pick and pop, but the pass was behind him. He's working on Johnson. He's gotten the better of that matchup, has Rarick. And that's going to be a 5-second closely guarded. Wow, you almost never see that called.
Correct on that. Also, however, Rarick not wanting to pick up the 4th foul. Johnson had his hand on Rarick's body, almost in his jersey, and Rarick couldn't do anything because he was afraid to pick up that 4th foul.
Yeah, he didn't want to swing the elbow or anything like that because he's very conscious. And one of the fouls that he did pick up was an offensive foul. That's the one that sent him to the bench. Anthony was shouting instructions to Prince Atkins. Now Cumming has it. Dennis Miles back to the bucket. Now faces up on Hizatake. 4 on the clock. Fades away. Tough shot, and he puts it in.
They were definitely looking to try to attack Hizatake. Hizatake only could stick to his rules of verticality defensively, and thus he was not able to get a hand in the face.
2-point game. 17:40 to go in the second half. Howes being hounded by Anthony all the way up the court. Anthony almost flopped again. Now Howes dribbles back out from behind the basket. Mid-range J. Rarick off right. Rebound for Cumming and Concordia. Anthony open in the corner. Too short. Had a good look. Long rebound. Prince Atkins bumps into his own man, but is able to hold on, and he'll back out. Atkins slowing it down. Miles calling for it down low. They go to him on the left block. Faces up on Hizatake. Lost it out of bounds, and it will stay with Concordia. It was off of Hizatake last. Bruns came with the double as well.
Yeah, good job by Bruns of helping out with Hizatake. He's going to need some help if they're going to ISO on him, trying to pick up that 4th foul and get him out of the game.
That's the main thing. Hizatake can hang with Miles, but has to be careful not to pick up a foul. 5 on the clock, a lot of contact. And it's going the other way. That'll be a charge.
Great job by Rarick, even with the 3 fouls, of making sure he was set defensively, because any movement at all, he picks up his 4th right there, and he just turned into a wall and took a solid shot.
Atkins dove in with 4 on the clock, so he didn't really have much of a choice but to attack recklessly. So now here comes Concordia with that press again. It's Bruns, has to go the length of the court with Anthony on him, but he does a nice job of doing it. 18 on the shot clock. It's Bruns. Howe's trying to get open. Bruns still with it. A lot of dribbling here. Rarick comes with the screen. He goes left around it. Ball knocked out of his hand. It goes to Hisatake, and he lays it in on the reverse. That was not a pass. He got stripped from behind, and it went right to Hisatake.
It couldn't have been any. Yeah. It looked perfect.
It did, yeah. He might even get an assist on it. I don't know, but I don't think he intended it.
I'm not sure the computer program works that way, but he should get one.
16:15 to go in the second half. 4-point game. Illinois Tech on top. Anthony, nice step back. Got it.
Beautiful fade by Anthony there. And I tell you what, if Anthony could play any closer on Howes, if Howes has a girlfriend, she would be wondering what's going on, because he is all up in Howes' grill.
This time Howes loses him, but Miles rejects the shot from the elbow. Anthony's all over him because he knows the help defense is coming if he gets by. Johnson inside, shot fake, couple shot fakes. Might have been a walk, but he lays it home.
And both of them, Rarick and Hisatake, were down there. Hisatake initially had a perfect setup for a block, but mistimed his jump, setting up an easy two.
35 all. Concordia has fought all the way back. They once trailed by double digits. Here's a runner from Rarick from the elbow, no good. Foul on the floor on the rebound. It'll go on Dennis Miles, who was not happy about it.
And to be honest, I agree with Miles. I don't think that's a necessary call. All three players are all trying. Yeah, they're all fighting for the rebound. Nobody's pushing for position. To me, that's a no call. Let them play.
Yeah, and that's the third on Miles, so that's something to watch too. Here's Bruns in the corner off the inbound. Hisatake holds. A lot of cushion there, but he's not a three-point shooter. Howes has a screen set up to his right, uses it, picks up his dribble, kicks it into the corner. Bruns, nice shot fake, lost the ball, and it's stolen by Cumming. 3-on-1 if they hurry. Anthony to the hoop. Comes up short, but he was fouled.
Yeah, Howes went for the quick strip as he was going up. However, got his hand on, what was it? I'm sorry.
It was
Cummings' hand.
Right.
So, or was it Anthony?
It was Anthony who was going to the line, yeah.
My apologies. So it was a good attempt at trying to strip the ball, however, unsuccessful, and that was his only play other than to just let him go unabated to the basket.
So Anthony at the line for two, and he can give his team their first lead since the game's opening moments. And he does just that, 36-35, Concordia on top. 15:02 to go.
Hisatake checking out, and on their last possession, you saw the difference between DiGiorgio, who checked in for Hisatake, where on the pick and roll, Hisatake did not cut to that basket. He was wide open, would have had an easy two, did not cut, and then the turnover happens.
DiGiorgio has a game-high 12, so he was one of the stars of the opening half. Also had 4 boards and played solid defense. 2-point game, Concordia on top, under 15 to play in the second half.
A little 10-2 start here for Concordia.
Facing up, it's Rarick. He'll take the J, too short from 18. Rebound for Dennis Miles. Not many second chance opportunities in the last 5 minutes of the game for Illinois Tech either, and they got a bunch to begin.
They flipped the script offensively. Now they're applying less pressure and packing it in.
Neither team has been very good from deep in this game, so that seems to be a pretty good strategy. Here's Cumming on the run, lays it home. Off the window, Rarick tried to draw the contact, tried to draw a charge, but it didn't work. Again, he doesn't want to go for that block because of 3 fouls. Here's Howes on the elbow, backdoor cut forward to Giorgio, gathers, goes up and finishes with Johnson on his back.
He is tough around that basket. He is a beautiful finisher. Another year in this program, a little bit more work in the weight room. He is going to be a player to watch next year for the Illinois Institute of Technology.
Already averages a double-double this season, mostly off the bench. 2-point game, Concordia on top. Here's Dennis Miles working on the Giorgio. Tough D, and he gets the shot to go and the foul.
And that's where that muscle next year will help him, because he's guarding a much bigger Miles right there, and Miles was able to muscle DiGiorgio. And another year in that weight room, DiGiorgio will step right in for Rarick and be able to have a little bit more physical presence. And right there, he just got run over, plain and simple.
So we're headed to immediate timeout with a free throw to come for Dennis Miles. It's 41-37. Concordia on top of Illinois Tech. 13:45 to go in the second half.
Once again, you're listening to USCAA National Championship Men's Division I game from Penn State Fayette University, presented by Nemacolin Woodlands Resort. This contest brought to you in part by Allstate Insurance of Uniontown. The USCAA sends a special thank you to 2017 partner Russ Playo of Allstate Insurance. Visit Russ at 70B Lebanon Avenue in Uniontown, or give him a call at 724-439-9700.
So Concordia, they once trailed by 11 in this game. They trailed 21-10. Since then, they have outscored Illinois Tech, doing the math quickly here.
31-16.
31-16, yeah. So they've basically doubled them up since getting doubled up themselves early on.
And that's when all the fouls started.
Yeah.
You know, that's when the guys started having to go to the bench, being Rarick and Hizataki. And you see a completely different Rarick here in this start of this second half. He is
much
not
more
himself.
passive, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And Howes, who had such a tremendous second half, with a slow start to his second half after a rough first half.
7 turnovers for Howes and 7 points. That's not a recipe for success for Malik Howes. Miles converts the three-point play, 42-37, largest lead of the game for Concordia. 13:44 to go in the second half. Now Illinois Tech in the red with an uphill battle here. Down 5 against the higher seed, Concordia Hornets. Rarick back to the bucket, 18 feet away, swatted out of his hands by Cumming, and it will stay with Illinois Tech.
Haven't seen anything from Jonkus in this half. However, I did see Jonkus getting his ring finger on his shooting hand taped. So I don't know if he had it stubbed in the first half, a little bit sensitive. Has not done anything here offensively in the second half thus far.
Hit a 3 early on, and that was it. Just attempted 2 shots overall, made one of them. Comes with the screen here. Rarick goes right around it, hedged aggressively by Miles. Steal for Cumming. Here he comes with the Giorgio trailing, and he flushes it with 2 hands.
Great job by Cumming defensively and hustling after the ball after it was knocked away. And Concordia with a 7-point advantage, and just night and day difference because of foul trouble.
Under 13 to go in the second half. They go to Rarick again with the left hand. He spins inside, too strong. Johnson soared for the block, couldn't get it. Ball's out of bounds, and it stays with Illinois Tech.
I have to say, I'm not sure I agree with that. It looked like DeGiorgio touched it last. However, the Scarlet Hawks get the favor of the whistle that time.
They'll take it. Now Rarick will sit Hizatake back in the game for the first time in a second. It's Forberg, number 12 in red, has the ball right now. Howes around the screen. Atkins in his hip pocket. Tries to free himself up with a stutter step and backs out with 16. Forberg with the left hand, spins inside, picks up his dribble, looking for help. Kicks for the Giorgio, shot fake inside, rejected by Miles. And it will stay with Illinois Tech.
Once he picked up his dribble, Miles knew exactly what was coming. There was nothing for him to do if he was going to put it up because he was in perfect position to swat it away.
Howes underneath on the inbound, swatted away by Miles again, and it will stay with Illinois Tech.
Much different team here defensively in that second half. They've backed off. That Illinois Institute of Technology has not tried to shoot those threes, and they are really getting after it in the paint, really getting after them defensively inside of 15 feet.
Jonkus 5 on the clock, in some trouble. Now Howes, a desperation heave, air ball. Rebound for Dennis Miles. Here comes Atkins. Now Anthony, shot fake. He has the much bigger Jonkus on him. Let's see if he tries to take him off the dribble. He won't. Instead, Atkins will reset. Atkins 14 on the clock as we come up on 12 to play. 7-point game. Concordia on top. 8 on the clock. Atkins deep right wing, works left, has Anthony around the screen, 4 on the clock. Drives left, picks up his dribble, fires away, too short from 18. Rebound for Hizatake. Howes on the run, Jonkus, shot fake, takes a step inside the line, book it.
That was a nice job right there. He saw the pressure come, pump faked, stepped in with the one dribble. Beautiful 15-footer from Jonkus.
Jonkus has a Really nice touch. He's just not very aggressive. He doesn't seem to hunt his shot. 44-39. Illinois Tech down 5, 11:22 to go. It's Dennis Miles posting up Hisatake. Forberg coming with the double, kicks out a 3. Atkins too strong, rebound for DiGiorgio. He took it away from Anthony.
He highballed that. He timed that perfectly.
Here's a 3 Forberg. Too strong. DiGiorgio keeps it alive, but Miles corrals for Concordia. On the run, coming to the hoop. No good off the window. Gets his own miss. Can't finish with the right. Johnson has it. Third try. He puts it in.
DiGiorgio almost had it, and then once Johnson got it, you saw Hisatake back off and not go for that 4th foul. This is not the time to be thinking about picking up fouls. You only got 10 minutes left.
Yeah, 7-point game, 10:35 to go. At this point, having 3 fouls, you know what? That's not big of a deal anymore. There's not that much time left, as you said. Here's Howes, doesn't use the screen from DiGiorgio, muscles his way in, back out the other way, kickball. Four on the shot clock.
Yeah, good point here by Jason Collins. Will be joining us here in the second game. Concordia, unlike the first half where they really were not going after the offensive boards, now they're crashing those offensive boards. And that is something that is a noticeable difference here in the second half.
They put 15 back on the clock because of the kickball. Howes hop step inside. Pretty move. Finishes with the left.
He needed that. He needs to get off that schneid. He's got to get back to that confidence he had in the semifinals.
Let's see if he can find a shooting stroke now. I don't believe he's made a 3. He's 40% from deep on the season. Now past the midway point of the second half, 5-point game. Concordia on top. Prince Atkins with a big cushion from Bruns. He holds, now inside. Pass behind Johnson, accelerates to the hoop. Rejected partially by Hisatake, and a jump ball on the rebound. It's going to Illinois Tech.
Hisatake did a good job of attacking the ball that time. Not worrying about that 4th foul, but then again, he had it timed perfectly.
So we're headed to immediate timeout with 9:47 to go. In the second half, 5-point game, Concordia on top of Illinois Tech.
The USCAA National Championships brought to you in part by First Federal of Greene. First Federal of Greene proudly supports the USCAA National Basketball Championships. Visit firstfederalofgreen.com. That's firstfederalofgreen.com for all of your banking needs. Also brought to you by Specialty Conduit. Specialty Conduit and Manufacturing is a proud supporter of the USCAA National Basketball Championships and is Pennsylvania's leader in plumbing manufacturing. Visit www.specialtyconduit.com to learn more about its newest location in Boynton, Pennsylvania, and how Specialty Conduit can help you. That's specialtyconduit.com.
Ricky Cibrano and Brian Collins here with you, taking you down the stretch of this men's Division I final in the 2017 USCAA Basketball National Championship. 5-point game, Concordia on top of Illinois Tech. They once trailed by 11 in the first half, did Concordia. 9:47 to go in the second. And it looks like out of the inbounds here, Concordia will press. That has bothered Illinois Tech in a foul.
Yeah, silly reach in right there. Unnecessary by Ryan Watkins. Forberg has you clearly backed out. I mean, he looks like he's boxing him out, trying to get the pass. There's no point in reaching in to make a silly foul.
Only 3 so far this half for Concordia, though, so that's the good news. Not as if it's led the shots or anything of that sort. Both teams in pretty good shape here in the second. Just 3 for Concordia and 2 for Illinois Tech. It's Jonkis holding. Now DiGiorgio. Rarick still on the bench.
And they're extending their man defense.
DiGiorgio, stop and go move. Whoa! From 12 feet away, he banks it in. DiGiorgio showing a depth to his game he had no idea he had.
Yeah, Concordia really starting to step out. They are really ramping up as the half goes on, more and more defensive pressure.
DiGiorgio a game-high 16. Miles, difficult fadeaway, too short. Great defense by Hisatake. And DiGiorgio hustles for the board. 3-point game, under 9 to play. Lob down low, Hisatake. He dribbles out. Miles was in good defensive position.
Someone's got to come to the ball.
Howes is trying to battle his way through. Now he has it. 12 on the clock. Post up Hisatake, drives baseline, can't finish with the left, gets it back, reverse, hit the bottom of the bucket, and he was fouled. Quick move by Hisatake. It surprised Miles, and he gets himself to the line on the second chance opportunity.
Yeah, 6'7" freshman from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm not sure how he ends up in Chicago, Illinois at the Illinois Institute of Technology.
An odd one, yeah.
But the kid, like I said, 6'7". He, as I talked about previously, kid can really get up. He's quick athletically. I think he has a huge future for the Scarlet Hawks.
With that first step, he blew right by Dennis Miles. Now he's at the line where he can make this a one-point game. Ryan Watkins sits down. D'Angelo Anthony back in. Second for Hisatake, way too short. Rebound caroms around, and coming away with it is Ryan Atkins. 8:30 to go, 2-point game. Concordia clinging to a slim lead. Runs on Atkins, doesn't use the screen from Waddell, knifes his way inside, finds Cumming, and he lays it home with the left.
Good job by Cumming of cutting to the basket. As you know, he was nowhere, no one was near him, as there is going to be a loose ball foul. As Howes looked like he was about to lose his dribble, and quickly trying to get in there was Atkins, but he picks up, not Atkins, Angelo to pick up. My apologies, it was Atkins.
Had it right the first
time. They walked right by each other.
There's a lot of guys who are about the same size that have single-digit numbers. There's only so much you can do. 8:06 to go. 2-point game. It's Bruns doing the ball handling here. Howes coming around the screen. Now they give it to him. They have not been able to free up Howes very often. 18 on the clock. Hisatake comes with the screen. They try to feed to Giorgio, and he was fouled from behind by Waddell.
Once again, as you talked about the defensive pressure on Howes, Atkins once again right up in him. Nowhere even to breathe, let alone be able to have any room to take a shot. And I think Howes' legs are starting to get a little tired. In the first half, did he even sit? He did not even sit in the first half, so he hasn't sat here in the second half.
Here's a three. Bruns, too short. That would have helped a lot. Neither team has gotten their outside shooting going, and Illinois Tech needs it. 7:40 to go, 4-point game. Concordia on top. Atkins has a screen to his left from Waddell. Now Waddell goes back to the post. Atkins still with it, 15 on the clock. Waddell pick and pop, pass is tipped and stolen by DeGiorgio. Here comes Howes on the run. Howes attacks, a lot of contact, offensive foul. You could see that coming. Howes, even though Concordia got men back, he had it in his mind, he had to attack. And that's a charge.
You know, to be honest, this is a time where Todd Kelly may want to give Howes a breather. You know, he's got 3 fouls. He looks drained. He just picked up a silly charging foul. The guy was set for like a wall. Mm-hmm. I mean, he wasn't going anywhere. He was already in position. Howes just seems a little bit off.
Atkins crosses over. Gives for Anthony. Anthony fades away from 18. Too short. Long rebound. Howes comes away with it. Foul will go against Johnson.
Good hustle on the rebound, though, by Howes right there. A deep, long rebound on the baseline. Getting to it before Johnson, the big fella, 6'7" freshman, could. As Rarick's going to check back in for DeGiorgio. Good rest for Rarick. Checking back in here at the 7-minute mark.
And now he should be able to play the rest of the game as Howes goes to the line for 1-1. That's the 17th foul on Concordia. DeGiorgio sits.
He should be able to be himself for the rest of the game.
Yes. With 3 fouls, 7 minutes left, not that big of a deal now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Howes too strong. Hisatake keeps it alive, but Cumming corrals it for Concordia.
One of the most important things, hitting the front end of 1-1s.
Yep. And that could have potentially, just seeing the ball go through the hoop, even if it's just not a free throw, a lot of times that will get a shooter going. But Howes couldn't do that. Free throw line pull up. Atkins, the southpaw, doesn't get the roll, kept alive. Dennis Miles saves it in the corner. 5-on-4 with Howes behind the play. Miles was fouled. And this will be on Hisatake. That's his 4th.
Not sure, once again, to be honest, Hisatake did get his hand up.
I thought he followed through onto him that time. I thought he did, maybe.
Yeah. It was one of those things where
close, but
if he got him, it was just a smidge of a touch, just the ever so slight brush of a touch.
48-44, Concordia on top, 6:38 to go. In the second half, now a 5-point game as Miles hits the first of two. It's been a tough go offensively for both teams today, as you can figure from the score. This could be first to 60, or neither team could get to 60, also possible. Miles hits the second, 50-44. We'll have a timeout on the floor, 6:38 to go. In the second half, 6-point game. Concordia on top in this men's Division I final.
It is the USCAA National Championships presented by Nemacolin Woodlands Resort. The USCAA would like to thank Laurel Highlands Visitors Bureau, Fay Penn Economic Development, Fayette County Chamber of Commerce, the Herald Standard, and Penn State Fayette. Without these partners, this event would not be possible. You know, just looking at where we're at in this position, Hizataki picking up his fourth foul. Obviously, I'm assuming at this point they're not going to worry about taking him out with that fourth foul. They're going to keep him out there, and if he fouls out, he fouls out. But you don't see Howes with that confidence that he had in the semifinals. Like I said, I don't know if he's gassed or if it's just been that much pressure that he's faced that it's just Concordia's gotten into his head. Rarick here, this is when he needs to step up. He is the leader since Mosley Jr.'s been out. He is the guy that really led the charge, even though Howes hit threes, even though Bruns hit threes in that semifinal game to help scurry them back from 18 down in that second half. It was really Rarick's presence because he seemed to be involved in every possession offensively. He needs here as a senior to take over and make this his game.
Rarick still stuck on 10 points, as he has since the first half now, just 4 of 13 from the field. They need somebody, again, whether it be Howes or Rarick. Somebody has to step for Illinois Tech. Here's Rarick, left wing. Here's a three, Jonkis, too short on the feed from Rarick. Hizatake keeps it alive, and that'll be a foul on Johnson. He can't believe it.
Yeah, Johnson went after the basketball. Looked like he had a good part of it, but he also moved Hizatake. When you move the player, when you're trying to tie him up, that's when the foul is going to be called. And another crucial 1-and-1 here.
6-point game, 6:17 on the clock. Howes was just at the line and missed the front end. Hizatake misses it again, but Rarick has the ball fall right to him. Jonkis got it. Big bucket, Parker Jonkis. Sweet stroke.
You couldn't ask for more there. I mean, Rarick comes down with an offensive board off the missed free throw. Jonkis is wide open. Concordia was not ready for that at all, and a beautiful stroke by Jonkis to cut the deficit in half.
One possession game, under 6 to play. Dennis Miles, he's double, goes through it anyway with the right hand, and he finishes over Hizatake. 5-point game. Miles is very adept with that right hand. Rarick facing up on Cumming, now tries to back him down with the left, fades away, in and out. Would have been a great shot if it fell, but unkind rims. And here comes Concordia.
That's a tough shot regardless.
Yeah, that was the Dirk fadeaway on one knee, on a bended knee. 16 on the shot clock, 5:20 on the game clock. D'Angelo Anthony taking his time with Howes on him. Now we'll get moving with 10 on the clock. Goes left around the screen from Dennis Miles. Muscles his way inside, picks up his dribble, finds Johnson, who hangs and is fouled.
Yeah, you notice who they're attacking. Rarick on the left, Hizatake on the right.
4 on Rarick. So that's the 2 big men. We'll see if they go to DiGiorgio here, and it looks like he will check in, because it's a bit of an issue if both of your bigs, both of your paint protectors have 4 fouls.
Well, to be honest, at this point, I mean, DiGiorgio should be in the game.
Yeah,
he has played tremendously. He's stepped up huge for them off of that bench, and he's outplayed Hizatake today.
He has.
Get him back in that game, and let's see what he can do, because he's got 16 points.
Game high 16 for DiGiorgio, so he's in for Hizatake. Johnson missed the first, at the line for the second. Misses that too. Neither team exactly scintillating from the free throw line right now.
Dead legs, man. Dead legs.
Very possible. Although these guys have had a day off. They played Thursday last. House splits the double. Jonkis again. Too strong, high rebound tipped by Rarick. He comes away with it again. It's loose on the floor, and that'll be a reach-in.
Yeah, that's the correct call. Jonkis had possession of it. He was a little off balance, but he had possession of it. So definitely the right call there. Now, the one thing, Jonkis hit a three from the left wing, took one near the top of the key there, and was strong with his shot. And that's something Todd Kelly needs to remind his guys, hey, Jonkis just buried a three. That one was just off, and it was long. He's got legs. He's got his shot. Let's find Jonkis off with some screens here. You know, the kid, he just, like you said, he's so quiet.
Yeah.
You don't even really –
you don't notice.
He's unassuming.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if he's able to get open, get him that ball. Get him spotted for those threes, because right now, offensively, him and DiGiorgio might be the keys going down the stretch.
And Jonkis, again, he's quiet. He's unassuming. He doesn't really look for his own shot, but he has a sweet-looking stroke when he does fire it away. So we are in a media timeout, the last media timeout of the game. 4:49 to go. Concordia on top, 52-47.
A little early for Rocky, isn't it?
I just noticed. Well, we're not in Philly, but we are in Pennsylvania.
Well, I know, but, I mean, 4:49 to go. It's too early for that.
It's the last meeting. They can't guarantee another timeout, so they had it queued up. They've got to do it now. Otherwise, they might not get it off. It would be better if we had a Philly team here, but oh well. What can we do? We will have Penn State teams playing later, so that's close enough, I suppose.
Yeah, and you know, I had the luxury this morning of talking with the Penn State York team and being able to sit down and discuss what they're going to be facing tonight in Berkeley College. And Parrish Petrie, he said, well, I got about 10 hours to figure this out.
Big front end of the 1-and-1 for Rarick as he connects on that. Can make it a one-possession game if he hits the second free throw. 4:49 to go. Here's the second in and out on a line drive.
So they missed the front end of two 1-and-1s and then missed the second on a 1-and-1. So really it could have been a tie ball game right now with free throws.
But conversely, Johnson just missed the pair for Concordia about a minute ago too, so nobody hitting their free throws now. Here's D'Angelo Anthony. Malik Howes on him. Atkins, 8 on the clock, now coming. Miles calling for it down low. He has it. DiGiorgio on him. 3 on the clock. Spins baseline.
Oh.
Fouled and got the shot to go. DiGiorgio, his hands up in the air. He's appealing that he went straight up. But Miles is going to the line, trying to complete the old-fashioned three-point play.
I have to say, that is, DiGiorgio was the definition of the rules of verticality. Straight up. Now the shooter went into him in Miles, which is fine. Miles has every right to do that. And however, DiGiorgio, that's not a call that you make. When he is straight up and down and the shooter jumps into him, you let it go.
Referees didn't, and now it's a 7-point game, 55-48, 4:15 to go in the second in this men's Division I final. Here's Howes, accelerates to the hoop, rejected by Dennis Miles.
Worried too much about Miles. He saw it as he went in, and he still went up to the basket. You can't go to the basket and worry about the defender. You got to go strong and take it right to the rack.
Howes still stuck on 9 points. Has been for a while. Coming. Guarded by Jonkis. And off for Prince Atkins, 8 on the clock, picks up his dribble. Dennis Miles post up, 18 feet away, crosses over on DiGiorgio, tries to spin, fires it up baseline, got it to go again on the leaner. Miles, even when he's in trouble, he manages to get off a decent shot, and it's now a 9-point game, 3:30 to go.
2 big possessions there and 2 big finishes by Miles.
Open look, too short from Rarick, they needed that. Rebound for Concordia.
Big possession here defensively for the Scarlet Hawks of Illinois Institute of Technology. You need a stop. You hit double digits here, just over 3 minutes left. You're going to be scurrying like you tried to do in the semifinals.
7 on the clock, under 3 to play in the ball game. D'Angelo Anthony calls for a double screen. 3 on the clock, crosses over, in trouble, jacks it up. Air ball, and that will be a shot clock violation.
I understand the thought of trying to air it out a little bit, take your time with that possession, but you have to start your offense earlier. You can't start it inside of that 10-second clock unless you're going to go to the basket.
9-point game, 42 and gray. Devin West, he's in the ball game now for Concordia. First time we've seen him in there for defense and rebounding. Mid-range Jay, too strong from Howes, tipped out by West. Here comes Concordia. Anthony was looking to run, but he'll smartly pull out. And now a timeout taken by head coach Frederick Summers. With his guys 2:35 away, Concordia up 57-48 with the chance to close out Illinois Tech here.
USCAA Men's Division I National Championship at Penn State Fayette. Proudly presented by Nemacolin Woodlands Resort. Nemacolin is a family and luxury vacation destination on 2,000 wooded acres in the Laurel Highlands of southwestern Pennsylvania. From the luxurious Forbes 5-star AAA 5-diamond Falling Rock Boutique Hotel to the comfort of your RV, Nemacolin's 6 lodging options cater to everyone's personal choice with a variety of amenities. It's another season at Nemacolin Woodlands Resort. What reason will bring you back? Now, this is your second USCAA tournament?
Yes.
Okay, did you stay at Nemacolin last time?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Yep.
I did, and just like you said about that first night we were here with the snow.
You got stuck.
It was not a fun drive to here. Beautiful place. I mean, the resort is outstanding. But there is a huge difference in where that mountain is as opposed to this campus. That snow came down, those roads went to ice, and it took about 3 times as long as it should have to get here. But it's a beautiful facility, and for anybody, no matter where you're at, if you're the parents listening to this game from Selma, Alabama, and Chicago, Illinois, I know the southwestern part of Pennsylvania doesn't sound like a destination, but that in itself is a destination to go to.
2:35 to go in the ball game. 57-48, Concordia on top. They're 2 minutes and 30 seconds away from winning the 2017 USCAA Men's Division I Basketball Championship. Illinois Tech, 15 points in this half. Coming! Nearly finished, but Hisatake got a piece. Here's Rarick on the run. 3-on-3, Rarick stutter step move. Scoop shot rejected by Miles, who fired it off of Rarick as he fell out of bounds. That's a really headsy play.
Rarick, the senior, however, not being aware of what's going on. He had Jonkis spot up on the left wing wide open. Decided to force it to the basket.
Now
and
Illinois
that
Tech will
hurts.
have to double. There's Miles into the corner, down low, open West, nearly lost it, saves it Anthony. 15 on the clock, under 2 to play. 9-point game. Atkins will slow it down, 8 on the clock, runs behind him, backdoor cut through the hands of Cumming.
Turnovers have saved Illinois Tech in the last 2 possessions. However, they have taken most of the time on each possession of the shot clock, and now we're down to 140. Howes has got to get this offense moving.
Have to get a bucket here, down 9. Howes doubled in the corner, finds Rarick a 3. Too strong, rebound for Anthony. Time running out for Illinois Tech.
Nobody hitting those boards. You cannot be standing back like Illinois Tech is. You got to be getting after it.
Here's Atkins. Thought about the shot. Instead, he'll kick out. Cumming had an open look, but he'll kill some more clock with 12 on the shot clock. Nearly lost it. Manages to keep his dribble. 8 on the shot clock. It's D'Angelo Anthony, 35 feet away. Blows by Jonkis. A floater. Beautiful off glass with the right hand.
I have no understanding as to why they are hesitating defensively. They have let them wind off nearly 90 seconds off of the game clock.
Here's Howes, no good. Hisatake rejected on the follow by Devin West. 48.9 to go in the ball game. 11-point game. Concordia, their largest lead of the game, and they can sense it now. Timeout taken.
Yeah, when you think about where you're at in the game, they are down by 11. You know, it was 9, but you let them take off 90 seconds in 3 possessions, or we'll say 85, because each time it was down inside of 2-3 seconds left.
Shot, yeah.
So you let them take off a ton of time, which is opportunities that you missed. Send them to the line. Make them earn their points.
And they've struggled to do it. Both teams have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make them earn their points at the line and then hustle down offensively. But they laid back defensively, did not put any pressure on the ball, did not try to create turnovers, did not make them go to the line. And instead, now there's only 49 seconds left, and you're down by 11.
And barring a miracle here, Illinois Tech will come up short. They had 33 at the half. They only have 15 in the entire second half.
Big switch defensively. They've just dialed up the pressure as Concordia. And once again, getting that steal, and there it is.
Anthony at the line now. He was fouled before the pass, and he'll be there for a 1-and-1. If he hits both, that's pretty much all she wrote. Might be anyway.
Well, like you said, how does Concordia have 7 losses on the season? When you think about what you've seen in this tournament from this team, offensively, they have a variety of ways and a variety of players that can attack and beat you. Defensively, you saw in the second half what they can do to a team defensively. They have completely shut down the Scarlet Hawks.
Front end is good from Anthony, 12-point game.
And now you're talking about a team that's going to be the national champions, and they have earned it on the floor. You know, Illinois Institute of Technology did not play a bad game whatsoever.
Anthony's second, rattles home, 13-point game, largest lead of the game for Concordia, 45 on a running clock. Illinois Tech hasn't gotten a bucket since a 3 by Jonkus a long time ago. 35, Howes. Wild skip pass, tipped out of bounds, near side by Anthony, 32.7 on the clock. It's all over but the crying now for Illinois Tech.
Yeah, the Scarlet Hawks have a great future, though. I mean, you're talking Howes is a sophomore, Bruns is a sophomore, DeGiorgio's a sophomore, Hizataki a freshman, you know, Jonkus is a sophomore. There's a lot for them to look forward to. They had a great run. They had an amazing semifinal, knocking off the number 1 seed in Maine Fort Kent to get to this championship game. They just don't have it right now to defeat a team like Concordia. Next year, you have to expect to see this team back here. They have so much coming back. DeGiorgio, another one, the sophomore. You know, they have a lot of talent that will bring them back next year to this tournament. And next year, they might be the favorites with all that talent that they have.
And remember, this is all without Anthony Mosley Jr., their leading scorer and assist man. So even to get here, it was a big shock. Howe still just can't put it in the ocean right now.
Yet another sophomore. Mosley Jr. is another sophomore.
Very young team. They only lose Rarick. That's it. And that's a big loss, obviously, but they have enough young talent. They should be able to be back.
Yeah, DeGiorgio will step right in for him. Like I said, get him in the weight room, put on about 10, 15 pounds of nice lean muscle, and you know, next year he'll look exactly like Rarick physically, and he's got that game inside. You know, as 10 rebounds a game.
Already averages a double-double.
Yeah.
So if you improve on that, as Watkins misses the front end, clock froze for a second. Now they get it moving. 25 on the clock, 13-point game. Here's a 3. Forberg got it.
Too little, too late.
Yep.
To be honest, unfortunately, too little, too late. This is how they should have been playing the last 3 or 4 minutes, with a sense of urgency. I know Todd Kelly, he likes his team being calm, but they had that sense of urgency in the semifinals. They were down 18. They had nothing else to go but to go all out. And he went small, 3-guard in the semifinal game, and it worked to a charm. They were able to create a lot of three-point opportunities. Heck, they hit 13 threes in the second half in the double overtimes. So it just didn't happen here today. They did not have that sense of urgency. And unfortunately, they tried to stay calm, but Concordia was so good defensively that they were able to come up with stop after stop after stop.
And the three-point shooting just was not there for Illinois Tech either. 19.6 on the clock. 10-point game. Concordia looking to close it out. Illinois Tech will press out of desperation. Here's Dennis Miles holding. Let's see if they foul or not. Doesn't look like Illinois Tech will. They'll just let the clock run out.
Yeah, as they shouldn't.
No point down 10, just prolong the agony, so to speak. And Concordia will not have to shoot. 5 on the clock, and you hear the countdown going on right now. 3, 2, 1, and that's it. The Concordia College Alabama Hornets, the number 2 seed, they come away victorious, and they are the 2017 Men's Division I USCAA Basketball National Champions.
Such a sense of excitement for one side, and you can see it on Rarick. Just not how you want to finish. You're so close to getting to that culmination of your career and finishing with that ring. As they say, it's all about the ring, all about the bling.
Yep, always.
But, unfortunately, they just ran into a buzzsaw in that second half, and that buzzsaw was that defense that Concordia played. It wasn't anything offensively that was that dominant. It wasn't anything offensively that was so special. No one came out and lit it up from deep. No one was dominant inside. It was team basketball by Concordia, as they're still celebrating, and as well as they should.
Why not? Yeah.
How often in your life do you get to this moment? But let us not forget, they're a pretty young team too as well. What are they really losing as well?
Not much.
Is a senior.
And he played sparingly.
And that's it.
That's it, yeah. Everybody else comes back.
Sophomores, and a couple of juniors. The juniors being Cumming and Miles. Cumming is a nice small forward, power forward combo. Miles, a guard, 5'11 guard. Didn't see a whole lot of him in the contest. So, once again, this may be your national championship final next year. With as young as these teams are, with as talented as they are, and both coaches, you have to tip your hats to both coaches. But today, Frederick Summers made great adjustments in that second, or at halftime, and his team came out in the second half and just played amazing.
Yeah, and a lot of upside here. They have the size, they have the shooting, they have the athleticism. This is a very, very strong Concordia team. And one thing you have to like in defeat, the sportsmanship of the Giorgio, who went up and he fist bumped everybody over by the scorers table over there. Just the touch. He could be down in the dumps. Instead he went over and gave everybody else their props, the guys who have been here all weekend doing their jobs. It's always nice to see.
And let's be honest. At this stage, I have a kid myself in college, but that's class.
That is.
And that's something that is taught. That's something that is learned. So, that's a tip of your hat to his parents in Ironwood, Michigan. That's not something that kids just pick up and, that seems like a cool thing to do. No. To show respect to even the scorers table, that's class. Both teams went into the locker room. They forgot there's hardware to get.
There's trophies to come. Even Concordia went in as they had to be called back out. Now, wait a minute, guys. You're going to want a picture of this. Come back out. And
they're going to.
Tech 2 will get some hardware, as you said, so they're back out.
Yeah, I'm not sure who the all-tournament team will be. Mm-hmm. That will be decided as well. But, Concordia, they have not stopped celebrating. I love the enthusiasm. A bunch of young guys. Bright futures ahead of them at that university.
Yeah, why not, too? And let's not forget, they were without Christian Bryant, who played very sparingly in the semifinal matchup against Berea, too. Their outstanding young point guard, who stands just 5'5". He had to be an injury there. They never really announced what happened, but you assume something along those lines. So they get him back at full strength, you would suspect, next year, too, and that'll just make them that much stronger. As you have the awards going on right now. First for the losers, Illinois Tech. So we will step out. We'll keep the camera pointed on the trophy ceremony, as you can see all of that as they announce them. Maybe we'll come back on and explain what exactly is going on. We can't really hear what they're announcing with the headset on anyway.
I'm assuming it's the all-tournament team.
It looks that way, unless they're just giving everybody an award, because they gave something to Howes and now Rarick. That's obviously Illinois Tech's best 2 players.
Yeah,
probably the all-tournament team, because these are the top guys on both teams.
The one thing about Concordia College that I find unique You see Illinois Institute of Technology, a lot of kids from Illinois, being the state of Illinois, as well as a few from Michigan. But Concordia College, you got Florida, Maryland, Georgia, Tennessee, Nevada, South Carolina, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi. That is a broad roster. And look how tight that team seems. These kids are from
all over.
Everywhere.
Right. Didn't even realize that.
And they seem so connected. And that's kind of cool to see. It's one of those things that is just.
Looks as if Dennis Miles was just awarded tournament MVP, and that is very, very well earned. Miles, another big game, goes for a double-double in this one, 16 and 10, and that was perhaps his worst game of the tournament. That's the amazing thing. Against Berea, he goes 28 and 9. Against Iowa, how about this one? He goes 24, 14, and 5 blocks. He was outstanding, the big man in the middle, all tournament long for Concordia. And every time they needed a bucket in this one, they went to Miles in the post, and more often than not, he delivered, even though they have some guys who could stick with him and really had a hand in his face. It didn't matter.
When it was a 4-point game, he had back-to-back hoops, including an and one, and made that free throw as well. And that really is what turned that tide. They got that 4-point game up to a 9-point game. They stretched that out, and that gave them that confidence that defensively they could keep attacking. They could keep sticking in the face of the Scarlet Hawks, and that's an MVP. That's what he does. So I would say well earned. Just looking at that stat line, did I see 12 rebounds for his attacking?
Let's see, yeah. 5 offensive, 7 defensive, 12 boards. That was a game high there for
gracious.
him. Yeah.
26 minutes, 12 boards. Not too bad. Howes, unfortunately, he did play all 40 minutes. However, 8 turnovers. He had 6 at half.
2 guys. Jonkus, 2, went for the full 40.
Yeah, you would have never known.
Yeah.
Jonkus was
you didn't
on
see
there
him out
the
there
whole
half the time,
yeah, you would never known that he was on there the whole time. And that's not a bad thing. It's just, like I said, he's one of those I would call a silent assassin. He's just kind of unassuming. He does his job defensively. He's very rangy. Like I said, he's got those long arms to go with that. He's a little frail. He's got a thinner frame, but he's got those long arms as well. So defensively, he's able to do a lot because he's able to reach a little bit more than some of the other defenders. But when you think about the turnovers, that was huge from the first half to the second half. That makes it very difficult to overcome.
Yeah, and right now the awards going on right now is they're going to all of the players on Concordia. Everybody gets a gold medal, it looks like. And you mentioned Jonkus and that quick release, the high release, almost up over his head. And he is one of those guys that he seems like he can just sort of float in the weeds. And he only took 6 shots. And when you look at the guys who didn't have it going for Illinois Tech, Rarick started off hot, went to the bench with foul trouble, never really regained, finished 4 of 17. Howes couldn't get it going, 3 of 13. DeGiorgio was really the only guy who was a consistent source of offense, 16 points, 7 of 8. You wonder if maybe things would have been a little bit different if a guy like Jonkus got more shots, if maybe they ran a couple more plays for him, got him around the screen, ran a pick and pop, whatever it may be, on a day when their 2 big guns, Rarick and Howes, just did not have it going, and that became pretty obvious early on. Yeah,
big difference in the second half, and you can see it in one stat line. Field goal percentage. In the second half, Concordia, 13 of 26 from the field, obviously 50%. Illinois Tech, 7 of 28. And as we said, all that defensive pressure is what forces tough shots. It forces off-balance looks. It forces those tough fadeaways. Like you said, the Rarick with the Dirk knee fadeaway.
It looks good if it goes down, but it's just not a high percentage shot unless you're Dirk Nowitzki.
And that's all due to the defensive pressure. And once again, tip of the cap to head coach Frederick Summers for making that adjustment at halftime and continuously. Every 5 minutes, it seemed like they ramped it up even more and even more and even more.
And they end up forcing, when it's all said and done, 17 turnovers, and they come out on top again. 61-51, the final score for the final time. Concordia, they come out on top. We'll leave you to the sounds of the medal presentation going on right now. The Women's Division I final will follow this, scheduled tentatively for a 2:45 tip. Brian Collins and Jason Collins, the father-son duo, will be on with that one. Until then, I'm Ricky Cibrano.
President and Athletic Director Dexter Jackson. Assistant Coach Angelo Jones. Assistant Coach Howard White. And head coach Frederick Summers. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the USCAA, its member institutions, and host Penn State Bay, we are proud to present the 2017 National Championship Trophy to Concordia College